Today, we're going to be talking about something that happens to everyone, a traffic stop. Nobody enjoys seeing those flashing blue and red lights behind them. However, for some people, this interaction can lead to criminal charges. For that reason, I'm going to be talking about 5 steps that you should take in every traffic stop. The first thing I'm going to be talking about is the initial contact with the police officer. As soon as the officer activates his lights, the scout car he's traveling in will begin recording the stop. Police are legally allowed to pull you over for any violation of the traffic law or local ordinance. Examples include speeding, failing to use a turn signal, swerving, failing to come to a complete stop at a red light or stop sign, and running a yellow light. Any violation may give rise to a stop, including tinted windows and objects hanging from your rearview mirror. The list goes on, but the important thing is, even the smallest violation can make the stop legal in a court of law. For instance, a police officer can stop you for going 37 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. Now, the police officer is likely doing this to launch into a criminal investigation. Pretextual stops are legal. Depending on the time of day or night, the officer may be trying to investigate whether you were drinking or whether you have drugs or weapons in the car. Even if you think the stop is garbage, this is not the time to argue with the officer. That leads me to my second tip. Don't argue with the police officer. Arguing with the police officer can result in poor treatment, getting charged with additional offenses if the officer can find it, and a higher bond to get out of jail because of the officer's report. The bottom line is that this is not court. This is not the time nor the place to litigate whether the stop was good or bad. This leads me to my third tip, which is how to behave during a police encounter. If the officer pulls you over, you need to pull into an area that you're comfortable. Look for an area that is well lit and safe. If you're in an area where you don't feel safe and you're looking for somewhere you can park, I suggest you do one of 2 things. Activate your emergency lights and continue driving until you find somewhere safe to pull over. This way, you're signaling to the officer that you're not attempting to flee. This doesn't mean you should drive like OJ until the gas runs out, but it does mean you should travel a reasonable distance at a lower speed. The other thing you can do if you're unsure that it is in fact an officer pulling you over is to call the police, explain where you are, and confirm that it is a police officer engaged in the traffic stop. Pull over as soon as you reasonably can do so safely. If there is a challenge to the stop, an experienced attorney, such as myself, will be able to make that challenge in court. My fourth tip is that you have your driver's license, insurance, and registration readily available. I recommend having a clear envelope or sleeve which allows you to easily access your documents in the glove box or center console. Turn the vehicle off and keep your hands on the steering wheel. If you're being pulled over at night, engage the interior vehicle lights so the officers can see all the occupants. If the officer sees you fumbling around while he's walking up to the vehicle, he might think you're trying to hide something or reach for a weapon. If the officer thinks a weapon is involved, you may be dragged out of the car, hurt, or much worse. When the officer comes up to the window, hand him your documents. If you have a concealed pistol license, also known as a CPL, you need to notify the officer immediately, hand him the CPL card, and notify him whether a weapon is in the vehicle. Often, people pat themselves when looking for a phone, wallet, or keys. Remember, if you have a handgun, don't reach for it. My fifth and final tip is to remember your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Use it. Under Michigan law, the occupants of a vehicle are only required to provide their legal name, unless they are CPL holders. The driver must provide all of those documents I previously mentioned. When the officer comes up, roll down your window and hand him your information. After you hand him your information, do not speak. There is no need to talk about your day, where you're going to or coming from, or any other matter unrelated to your documents. There's a good chance that the officer is going to ask loaded questions, such as, how much have you had to drink tonight? Where were you speeding to? Notice how I said that. The question is never, have you been drinking tonight? Or what was your speed? The police officer phrases the questions in a way that implies that you're in the wrong. No matter how you answer the officer's questions, you have the potential to make admissions that hurt your case. Admissions are used against you in court. Any statement you make can be recorded on the officer's body cam or the scout car system, which also records audio from the traffic stop. You need to speak with a professional before you make any decisions that could make your case more difficult to defend. We're ready to help you. We're open 24/7, and I'll give you a free consultation. You'll sit with me and we'll review your case and see what options you have available.
This video is not legal advice and should not be relied on for legal advice. Be sure to consult with an experienced attorney whenever you have legal issues.